Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Normally I will, but because it's windy, I don't like
You're more with the kids. a difference a month makes for St George FC. They were flying high after 6 rounds when they defeated Sydney Olympic 2-0 at Belmore Sports Ground. But since then, it's been a streak of 4 losses, including losses against Marconi, Spirit, Rockdale Illiton and Sydney FC. While for the SD Raiders, after what was a good start to their month, so to speak, with a couple of wins and a draw last week, reality came crashing on them, losing against the Marconi Stallions 6-1, and it meant a couple of changes to their lineup. Let's go through the St George FC starting 11, and yes, they have decided to go for a new goalkeeper this week, so Marcus Petrovski will be in between the sticks. Troy Danaskos is back. Let's see how he goes, while Jaden Cito, Nicholas Caligiru, Evan Soros, Jaden Casella, Caden Wright, Keta Toyoka, Javar Rodriguez, Harrison Farrow and Chris McStay, the starting 11. For the SD Raiders, they too have made a change between the sticks. So instead of Will Lukash, who was keeping the last couple of weeks, Michael Figuera is back. Cooper Hannigan, Lachlan Everett, James Letter, Luka Kinezovic, Lachlan McGrath, Noah Chianese, Martin Fernandez, Charlie Ragg, Thomas Macco, and Ethan Bevan, the starting 11 for the SD Raiders. Our referee in charge is Blake Sanchez-Cruz, Lucy Hungerford, and Jaden Downs, the assistants. Tom Selden is our 4th official. Looking forward to this one. As I said, as much as you can say that both sides are on a lot of pressure, it's what makes this one interesting, because St George FC are outside the 6 by the barest margins, 1 point to Wollongong, but a win today could potentially get them back in the 6 if results go their way this week, I should say. Very cold evening at Ernie Smith, and we're just about right for kick-off. The SD Raiders wearing their traditional green and more of a blue strip for St George FC today, a darkish blue, wearing neither the white or the red that they are known for in the past. Now Fernandez with possession already, scored a good goal last week. Yet another throw for the SD Raiders. Bevan back in the starting squad. Hannigan. Bevan back. Figuera pointed it downfield. The SD Raiders still got possession here. Last week, as I mentioned, in the loss against Marconi, I don't think you can say they were bad, despite, I know it was 6-1, but what I mean by that is they were always in the fight and trying to set something up. They were just beaten by a team that's too classy in a lot of respects. There's a reason why Marconi are one of the favourites to take out the competition, either via the Premiership or the Championship. They're expected to get some silverware this year.
That's our ball anyway.
You can hear Jaden Cito remonstrating as Danaskos got a touch on to Rodriguez, sends a deep ball on. Good shepherding by the SD Raiders. St George already on the attack again. Stay back. Potentially Souris. Right, works it on. Now it's Casella back. Benjamin McStay, a former Wolf. Can he offer up today? Again, Caligiru. Souris. Casella. Too much. Danaskos won't get to it. Troy Danaskos has only started once this season from the 6 games he was named prior to today. And on that occasion, he scored a brace. That was against Sydney Olympic. Is that going to be the case today is a very important question. He's a very fine player. I just have the feeling that he will be well and truly on the charge today, Troy Danaskos. As I mentioned before, they'll lose back to the bench today. Petrovsky gets his first start this season for the club. And we should note as well that the talk about Nick Soros, we're hearing, maybe a month away. It'll be a while before their star goalkeeper comes back. The SD Raiders, as I said, Michael Figueira comes back. Changes to the starting lineup and the bench as well as the ball goes out. Good corner opportunity for the SD Raiders. As I mentioned before, Thomas Mako starts. The bench, Sebastian Malfara coming back to the pine. And also I did note, while warm-up was happening, Mikhail Marcic, he did not complete the running duties, so that's why he's not playing. But I was watching him on the track, so to speak, as Everett works it to the far post, or it's headed away. What he can do, Caligaru. Ball drops back to Hennigan. He has a dipsy doodle. Questions of handball. Not called though. Fernandez back inside. Knezovic. And the ball bouncing around. Rad couldn't do much with it initially. Aguero does let it go out. Shepherding it out to be exact, as a yellow card's going to be given. First card of the game. Score here. 0-0. 4 minutes gone in the first half. Attack here, St George, but stay. Trying to work it inside. Danaskos taken down in the box, but the referee says not called. Now Kianese works to his right. Knezovic slides across. Kianese tries to control. Ricochet works here. Farrow had a chance. Does go sailing wide of the mark. Decent opportunity, you'd say. So next day, getting the card for St George FC. There's now Figueira trying to work it forward. George once again on this left side. Danaskos can't quite get to it. Bevan has it. Ethan Bevan. Ball goes over halfway. Knezovic won't get to it. Ball drops back to Petrovsky. As I said, first start for St George FC. It's a big moment for him in the NPL Men's New South Wales. Ball on by Soros. Does find Danaskos. Hennigan quickly swipes it away. And utilises Danaskos to play it out. So Petrovsky. Time at the Wanderers. Marconi boy as well. From junior level. Hit by Cito. Everett worked it on. Knezovic. Now it's Fernandez. Chianese couldn't quite get to it initially. Ball drops back for Cito in the afternoon. And Ernie Smith at the moment. And there's now Caligero works it to his right. Caden Wright, he'll be an impact today, no doubt. Now Danaskos was wide on the run. He won't get to it. Stopped by Michael Figuera. And now it's the opportunity for the SD Raiders to roll forward. As I said, for them, really, the world crashed back into reality last week with that loss against Marconi. And in some regards, and I've got to be honest, like I said before, I don't think they were bad. I think you can make a case there was a lot of green shoots, to use that term, as Chianese trying to get to it. It was touched out last moment. So, throw to be taken by Charlie Ragg. Now Chianese pushed off the ball. Right, worked it back, and then the ball by Caligero goes out. So another throw to be taken. Plenty of games on this afternoon, evening, leading into tomorrow as well in the NPL Men's New South Wales. The ball's worked across to space for Knezovic to try to get to it. Let's deviate off Cito. Foul called. Cito will have the foul and quickly works it on. Ball by Rodriguez, couldn't find the target. McStay. Brad worked it on to Fernandez. Ball shut down by Danaskos. George now on the attack. Rodriguez trying to be support. Ball going wide of the mark. Guerra stops that Casella chance. That was probably not the chance that Casella was hoping it was going to be. One player we know scored some goals on his day. Jordan Casella. Remember a few that he set up and scored back in the day for Rockdale. Spent time at Olympic as well, and the Mariners did come from their academy set up 6 years ago now. Can't get possession there, Fernandez. Now McStay whips it over halfway. Oof. I'll tell you what, Leonard got onto that. Now it's Danaskos back to Yorker. Now the ball by Rodriguez. McStay shut down by McGrath. McGrath, a short pass with him and Mako combining. Was on a run, McGrath, but St George able to stop this ball. And now Danaskos beaten by Everett. Too much by Cooper Hannigan. Now Jaden Cito. Danaskos and Cito combine. Cito. He's got Danaskos on his left. Back to Cito. The ball by Rodriguez. A touch back to right from Souris. Eventually, St George go forward through Rodriguez. Tries to poke a ball on. Casella again might be looking to work this towards his left. Decides to go short to Danaskos. Danaskos has an effort on the ground. Ball did not go 1 inch above the grass, really. The SD Raiders want possession again. Raiders will be working it from their own half. Bevan has got support on his right. Decides to go to his left. SD Raiders. St George FC. The last time these two teams played was actually in 2023 in League One. The first time They played each other in NPL Men's New South Wales. Last time they played was round 18 in the League One season in 2023. The Raiders winning that one 3-1. Tianese tries to control it. It was punched forward. Raiders on a run now. Knezovic couldn't get that ball back inside to James Letter. So now it's St George FC again looking to work it back. I was just looking at that lineup back then. Here's the players from St George that are still in that squad. So Danaskos, O'Shea, who's on the bench today. Morabito not playing today but still in the squad. There's now the ball back inside to McStay from Casella. Now Danaskos works at far post, but the header comes back to Danaskos. Danaskos now sweeps it back in. And Figueira's there. You had Evan Soros. And Jaden Cedar was on the bench on that occasion. SD Raiders, a couple of players that are still playing in this squad now. James Letter, Thomas Santarossa, who's on the bench today. Riley Cox-Barlow not playing today, but in the squad. Sebastian Malfara bench. And Sapatu, who's on the bench today. He was in the squad too. There's now the SD Raiders look to work this forward. Marchich was also in that lineup too. So some good talent from the SD Raiders and St George FC from that 23 season, the last time the two sides met, playing today. So you'd say a turnaround is kind of that 50-50 kept and haven't kept. As offside on that occasion was Rodriguez. So Ernie Smith at Moorebank, the venue for this game. A cool evening. I think they're expecting about 20 degrees during the course of the day. It's going to drop down to about 12 during the overnight. The ball was worked up by Figueira, but he won't get to it. Charlie Ragg. That game, incidentally, too, that was actually at Rockdale Elder. So that's how far back since the last time these two teams met. St George now play at Barton Park. So Barton Park is back up and running. A great facility. Cito has got possession. Danaskos on the lead. Inside ball that's been played out. Give Beethan credit. Made sure that ball was not going to go anywhere near the goal. Give St George FC that chance. Corner to be had. So Casella is short here. Is that the option? Let's see. Casella now just putting his hand out. Naskos on the edge of the 6-yard box as Casella works the ball back. So McStay decided to go for the short option, which did not work. Over it now, Chianese. Now they're on the run through Hannigan. Cooper, he's on the attack. Hannigan now works it inside, but it's been stopped off. And then foul be called. Well, Wright was probably a little bit too over-exuberant in that situation. And the foul goes the way of the SD Raiders just outside the 18-yard box. Justin Davies, who's doing our match report today, was looking at me just then going, over-exuberant? Geez, that's a big letter for you. Yeah, it is. Big word, not letter. you knew what I meant. Had to carve it up at some point. But it will be Knezovic to take this set piece. So Chianese is centre, but now he's been pushed a little bit to the left. So who's the target in this? I can see Hannigan's also around, and Ragg is deep to the left. Knezovic works it in, Ball's going to reverberate past Rag. It's going to be Fernandez who has possession. And Everett works it back to Cooper. And Cooper works it deep and the ball goes out. Just watching the St George players in front of us warm up. As I mentioned, I lose the sub-goalkeeper today, Pat O'Shea, Justin Poon, Jake True, Stephen Stanchfluddy, Katsuyoshi Kimishima, and Mark Rodich. The bench today for St George and the SD Raiders, Lukash, Mabasha, Santaros Ali, Nafara, Sapatu, Iramugo. Both sides. St George, as I said, it's been a rough month for them. Setting goals, they didn't know that was a thing a few weeks ago, as flag hasn't gone up yet, so Farrow was just onside by a whisker, a boarding house scrape and butter. It was Cooper Hannigan. There's possession. Hannigan now slides it inside, but stopping it off there was Kamagera, who actually played it back. This Toyoka, I was impressed with him a few weeks ago when they played against Southern, so he's a player that's got some immense ability. As the Raiders now have it. Everett has possession. It's back inside the Knezovic. Now going forward again is Mako. And that wasn't exactly what he was looking for, as Danaskos has got possession. Interesting fact here that Ernie Smith, their scoreboard is a countdown. And they're counting down from the 90. So don't see that as much. You might see it count down the 45, but not the 90. And just noticed something that's going on behind us. Let's just say we might need to get some facilities on this side of the ground. That's all I'm going to say. Hannigan was calling for on the right, but they didn't utilise him. As again, it will be St George. They'll have to work from their own half.
Really wide. Really wide.
So now, right, Rodriguez. Now it's an opportunity again. McStay's on the lead. Casella utilises McStay. He works it in. Ball will drop back. The SD Raiders to go forward again. Rag to his left. Neze drifting it on. So you've just got the feeling St George can be similar to Marconi and wait for SD to pounce on a mistake. SD attacking at the moment. There's great work by Toyoka. No foul called on Rodriguez. Now the Raiders on the attack again, as it will be once more Bevan, who works it back inside. McGrath deep, right heads it down. Knezovic, Chianese, second time effort, still doesn't work. Now Danaskos, Boykson. Farrow is looking at the flag. He knew he was offside. And all I can say, that is a massive offside. To the point where, you know how in hockey they've got that weird offside rule? Everybody knows it's going to be an offside, you're just waiting for the call. Do you mind you? The hockey offside rule is confusing. I know a lot of football people go, geez, our offside rule's confusing. Is it confusing? No, the hockey one goes one step better. As Hannigan will try to get to this, he heads it on. Now, He's on the run, Fernandez. Now, he might have to use Hannigan here. Good defence by St George. But it's going to be last touch from Fernandez. So Tuiuka was very smart what he did defensively. So he's actually touched the ball straight onto the SD player to make him play at it to get the throw. That is defence smartness 101. Now Hannigan. Well, it slid past Saurus, but McStay was able to drift it down to Casella. Casella now's got Farrow on a run. Casella goes on the left foot. Save first time by Figuera. And McGrath will do the honours of clearing. Gnezovic once more. Side to Rag. The ball does go out, touching St George last for a throw on the clubhouse side of the ground. What can they offer up now, SD? Chianese was on the run, but he's not going to get to it. It's been hurried forward by Petrovsky. Now again, it's take two for the SD Raiders and their chance. Nezovic trying to find this will be interesting. He's on the ground here, Cito. What's the call going to be? It is going to be a card. Yep, a yellow card to Hannigan. And they came in, and I can see the coaching staff of St George straight away jumping on that, and I can't disagree with them already asking the question. I just want to see the replay of that. It's a very wide ball. Cooper Hannigan's wanting to get onto it, and yet he and Cito to touch. There was no malice in it. Well, you know the ruling on those challenges. By the way, as I said, there's plenty of games tonight in the competition in progress. University of New South Wales and the Wanderers no score at the School of Hard Knocks. 19 gone first half. University of New South Wales, to be exact, at the Village Green. Spirit plays Sydney United 58. In about 5 minutes from now, that game will start. There's George City and Marconi Stallions. A late game tonight at 7:15. So plenty of football to keep across tonight. In tomorrow's game, Sydney FC and Blacktown at Illiton. Wollongong and Sutherland's Macedonia Park. RPN Olympic, that's going to be a massive game at Lambert. Double header, two at the women's and the men's. And Manly and Rockdale. That's going to be a fascinating game. Manly take on Rockdale. Round 11 action, match week 11. So possession again for Figuera, who rolls it on. Now McGrath turning it back to Beaver. Beaver will use Cooper Hannigan. Chianese wants to beat Cito. Does. Now Chianese toe pokes it forward. Fernandez. And Petrovsky's there to make the save. Now the ball was bowled over. Now it's worked upstream. He goes past Bevan. Actually interesting how he decided to last minute move himself away from that ball. It's almost like you see that Mission Impossible stuff on the red line. He's trying to make sure he doesn't touch the red to get the alarm going. Because now it's Mako. Combination now of what SD can do here in attack could work. Fernandez is the target. Tuiuka was there to stop it initially. Now Rodriguez and Casella combining. It's on the left once again for Danaskos. Danaskos has got Cito on the left. Cito now goes back inside. Here's Casella on the left foot. Ball bounces up to Figuera's chest. He's able to bowl it over to the left again. The SD Raiders on the attack. Great to see these two sides in the top flight. As I said, a few years ago, this was a League One fixture. St George graduated in 24. The SD Raiders graduating this year. As Everett sends a sliding ball to Knezovic. He needs support. Ball back inside. Now, he didn't quite pull the trigger rag, and the ball will go out, touching him last. So it will be a goal kick to St George. A lot of bad horns going off. I don't think they're the best horns in the world. Do mind you, before, I did laugh at the fact that they were trying to perform the FIFA national anthem, the FIFA anthem. It was so good. I heard a story many years ago, and they couldn't get it working, the actual music at a ground, so the ground announcer and his offsider decided to just hum it into a microphone. Now, I won't give up who told me that, but Nicky Brock knows a lot of things. So, SD Raiders over on the left side. I reckon he's telling a bit of Berthies on that. As the ball is in Hannigan's favour. And now the shot by Chianese spins across. Will be a goal kick for St George. So we've had an interesting 28 minutes or so to open this game up. I've got to say, the SD Raiders have been more attackive, but St George have had the more chances, if that makes sense. There's now Danaskos working inside to McStay. He goes back to Danaskos. Danaskos now decides to go back, finds his Cito. McStay, now Toyoka. Ball on from Souris. Rodriguez wide to Danaskos. Works it inside. Bounces past. One. Right couldn't control. But still alive. Casella. Too much on it. And that has touched St George last. I know there was sort of cries that it had SD touching it. Not the case. Southern Districts 0. St George 0. The old St George Budapest, as we remember him from the NSL. SD Raiders. It was 2012 when they came into Football New South Wales competitions as an entity. It's actually 2016 when it was the SD name. Initially it was a merged identity of the SD Raiders, or Southern District Soccer Football Association, and Fairfield Bulls to produce the Southern Bulls name. As I said, since 2016 the SD Raiders name has been licensed. As the ball comes back to Michael Figuera, who is able to work it down, but goes to halfway where Cito was able to work it on. McStay found Danaskos, now Cito on a lead. Hannigan stops it, but he's got to be mindful. Can't at the moment. Chianese has it. Now he's going to utilise McStay's foot so they can get the throw. The team in green, the SD Raiders. And last week, I was saying it wasn't easy being green in regards to their performance against Marconi. And just bar none, the best side on that night. Very impressive to watch. I don't think they got out of second gear or third gear to be exact. That's how good they are, Marconi. But SD, as I said, they can get some confidence from that game in some regards. They were able to set up chances. They've been doing that today, but they haven't been able to deliver them as such. will be Marcus Petrovski, the goalkeeper for St George. Pink goalkeeper Guernsey tonight. Now the SD Raiders looking to win possession. Everett has played it out. The ball goes to Knezovic, back to Everett. Everett finds Chianese, I should say. Ball comes back. Now Knezovic. Knezovic slides it up. It's headed down by Cito. Now they're on a run again here, St George. Danaskos utilises McStay. McStay will go to his right and then line it up. Ball bounces into the 6-yard box, actually deviates on the SD Raiders. Souris does find Rodriguez. Goes back to right. Right. Casella. Haven't seen Rodriguez get himself in the action. He's been getting himself involved quite a bit. Stays got possession again. Works it to the far post. The header by McGrath. Drops down again for Fernandez. Good work by Calagero, but he loses possession. He tries to win in the game. Ball drops in position for St George. Now Knezovic wins it and then flicks off Toyoka. SD have it. Kinese was on the left-hand side. Knezovic on the run. Foul was called on the challenge on Fernandez. The SD Raiders again working from their defensive troops. The score between these two. So again, it will be possession for Lachlan McGrath. He works it forward, but again, it's going to be stopped off from the keeper, Ian Petrovski. So this St George on the attack, working up towards halfway. McStay, well, that couldn't stop it. Nice ball line. The chance by Farrow, but the flag was up, offside. So the flag was up, so the offside will be called. So this game at a good pace at the moment. About 10 minutes away from seeing the fourth official show how much remaining in this first half. The energy chat in the background. I know Knezovic is having a quick chat to the coaching staff, SD Raiders. Good to see the SD Raiders there working on their new clubhouse too at the facility. Cool evening, as I said. Not the biggest crowd around, but a hearty crowd here. 20s are on afterwards too, which is a good move from a lot of clubs now playing 20s after first grade. And Spirit are a big believer in that. Sutherland's been doing that as well. As Petrovski nearly found himself in a bit of Barney rubble. As again, it will be SD Raiders. Mako couldn't control. Now, St George on the attack. Yorker to his right. gets himself in position, Knezovic, to play it out. He's now worked up from Souris, Stay and Danaskos. Danaskos not happy that there was no lead for him. Figuera tries to boot it down. Danaskos heads it. Now it's Mako back. Hannigan looking for support. Looked inside. That could have been another bit of hairy-carry. McGrath was good. And the ball eventually going back. Hannigan getting himself involved in the action. Figuera over halfway it was, and now it will be St George through McStay. They're on the attack again through Mako ST. Knezovic now on a run. Knezovic's got Knezovic wide. Knezovic will be the target. Knezovic lashes it back inside Fernandez. Save first time, but Rag the second time. The flag's up. Offside. Lucy Hungerford saw that straight away, and she's got the flag up for offside. So Lucy Hungerford was in the right position. What about that? Kianese to Knezovic. Knezovic on the right foot inside. First option, Fernandez, saved by Petrosky. The second effort. It's hard to line up from the angle we're from. Yeah, I can understand the cases both ways. That way. And I think both can make a case, but the coaching staff was watching it probably about 10 metres further behind where we are on the play. So anyway, St George here. Another flag for Farrow. Figuera. George winning possession through right initially. Rodriguez spinning. Souris. Now, side to use to Danaskos. He works it inside. Touched out by Bevan. Inside the final 6 minutes of regulation time in the first half. The All Men's New South Wales tonight, the home of Southern District Soccer Football Association. Reading Smith. McStay to take the corner. He's got Danaskos on the edge of the 6-yard box. Again, shut down by Kianese. Everett, short pass. Through the legs of Knezovic. Now Rodriguez to McStay. Too much on it. Goes out for a goal kick. The game that is slowly turning over. Everett working to his left. And now it's the SD Raiders again through Fernandez. Mako loses possession. Fernandez once more. Kianese. Everett. Hannigan deviates off SD the first time. Everett. Fernandez. And now it's Knezovic. Knezovic cutting inside. Nice ball on. Fernandez. Spinning back. Knezovic. Nobody was following through. Petrovsky can stop that, but I'll tell you what, if there was a follow-up, I think the SD Raiders could have found the opening goal of the game. Wright's back. The pressure by Knezovic didn't quite work. Now it's the Saints for Tuyoka. Sliding it onto the right. Giru to right, back to Caligari. Gary utilising here. Tuyoka, he's got Sito on his direct left. The sides go deep. Naskos won't get to it. Hannigan playing cover. Now it's bowled over by Figuera. Hannigan inches from the sideline. Moves it back inside. Now Knezovic can't control. Rodriguez couldn't get to it. Everett decides to go to his left. McGrath slides it on. Letta goes downfield. Now it's Rag. Chianese's on a run. Chianese once more. Tried to go inside the Rag, but didn't work. Mako's trying to get to it. Next day, bouncing around. Mako couldn't win it. He was trying to pressure St. George. Now Danaskos. Now, is he offside? Yes. Harrison Farrow, then a little incident, I should say. Himself and Hannigan. Indiscretion there with the ball being thrown. I'll tell you one thing, Harrison Farrow is a guy that can score a goal on his day, but at the moment, the card has been given. I think there might be to Harrison. I'll get confirmation on that. The way things have gone so far, Harrison Farrow has seen the flag on so many occasions as the fourth official has indicated 2 minutes of additional time. So Tom Selden, the ball goes over halfway. I'm going to run again here. Rag has been getting himself in and around. Here's the shot by Everett. Sliding deep and over the bar. George coaching staff getting very aggressive here in what they want to do. A goal before half-time would be so important. You'd imagine. How much either side would take this goal before half-time and the advantage it will be. Feels like a one-goal game to a degree as Hannigan has got it for the SD Raiders. Over halfway. Chianese tries to play it for himself. Chianese pressure with Tuyoka. Ball is going to slide out, and Lucy Hungerford says the ball touched last by the SD Raiders. Close to half-time being called. Farrow heads it and trying to chest it for himself. Doesn't quite work. He's played that ball off an SD Raider. It'll be a throw, but it doesn't matter because half-time has been called. So no score between the SD Raiders and St. George FC. Good game building. It's one of those, I guess, slow churning games, but you know that there's going to be some action at some point in terms of a goal. The question is which team's going to take advantage of it. Half-time, no score between the SD Raiders and St George FC from Ernie Smith Reserve. It's match week 11 of the NPL men in New South Wales.
I just talk and words come out. Justin? What's happening?
Not much, mate. Busy
What's
as
the score?
usual. 0-0. 4-0 to South.
What are you thinking? 50?
It'll be bad. Next week will be worse.
You know what the worst thing is? It's not like they're bad players.
No.
This is the worst thing. It's not like they're bad players.
No.
It's just Flanagan's the worst thing. Being the coach, it's some Flanagan shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're in for a win soon, but
Yeah.
this, the worst thing is our New South Wales Cup squad is very good. Scores are-
They lost today. I know the cup.
Did they lose today?
Yeah. You're a Dragons fan, isn't it? Both Dragons fans, unfortunately. For our sins. No.
Most of the team story had put it in this game. No, they didn't get put down. They
It didn't roll over on the highway. I got you, man.
I couldn't believe that.
Oh.
When that happens, you just go,
Yeah.
man. The great AIs yeah, just not it's not going to use
So you can pick up swearing.
in my view.
Yeah.
In my view. Basically, AI's gone funny. Just Chuck Norris AI just cut me. Just kicking everybody. Kicking and punching. Don't be shy. He's the best. That kick. It's really Bundy.
Yeah.
And then, oh, actually, this is a great one. And then you got this one.
Just to highlight how bad the year is for St. George, starting hooker got hurt in the warm-up. Jacob Little got hurt in the warm-up.
Oh, what?
So Cook had to start, and he just scored at least.
Okay.
So it's 6-4.
How? Well, we're in the home.
I said to my mum, you compete for 60 minutes and South just have too much actual, like, attack for us.
didn't realise that it's
We've got a break right behind us here.
yeah, but I just didn't.
I said the wood fly pizza band. That
Yes,
thing cake. Yeah. The chicken burger's nice.
I went to the American.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Yeah, the food is good. The chips are good.
They do a decent feed.
Yeah, they're pretty nice.
Because uni wasn't bad last week. I was there last week with Adamo.
Sydney Uni or
UNSW.
yes,
No, I've still never gone to Sydney Uni.
all right.
I'm the reporter.
Oh, driving.
Justin. Hey, nice. I was gonna say I was looking up the list.
Alright,
The cameraman was
family,
like,
in partnership with Royce Level Park, we are now giving away 2 tickets to the winner of this raffle. Now we've got Oliver Ronich right, Oliver Howard. So, first place is winning 4 tickets, second place is winning 2 tickets to spend at Royce Level Park. Do you like to win?
I'm next week.
Are you sure?
I get to go watch it lose on the
You know what's funny, man?
I'll be a handsome man.
Fair enough.
That's how I want to win. So, we'll get into the raffle here. Score the first one out.
I'll be a
Everyone check
handsome
your
man.
tickets.
Nice. Is it the beer footy food or?
No, they're actually playing 6 p.m.
Alright, and the winner of our first place is...
I guess taking advantage of it actually being on a Saturday.
Blue E26.
Nicola was telling me he's hosting a
Make your way down to the field to collect your first
Nicola's
place
hosting a
prize.
tour.
Oh, that'll be great.
And the second one.
The great Nick.
Then you
By
got,
the way, did you hear that the drama?
Orange F13. Orange F13, we have 1 second place. So first place was Blue E26. Come collect your ticket. And second place was Orange F13. The last 15 for Royce Federal Park, who gratefully are in partnership with us now. So,
This game, this game is not being officially given to
Yeah.
given back to him yet. I'm thinking, what's over here? Oh, what is this dollar? Oh, this other check.
yeah.
Are you not doing the game next Sunday? He goes, that's correct. The early, move the time slot. We did kill me. Like, yeah, okay, so Steve's on the commentators check. And all the scavengers.
I muted that commentary one. I don't know why I muted it.
Oh, because you're a commentator.
Technically,
What do you want to do with it?
I don't. I'm hoping I can help you out sometime. When you
Orange 13 can come
You're
down to the
good at
right place to collect your ticket.
yeah.
Thank you.
No. It's good special comments. No, yeah, I didn't use that chat. I was like, just give me the writing one is thankfully just no one.
When I was talking, it's
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Oh,
But
everyone.
then I said that other chap could come. People please not say
Yeah.
anything.
Oh, Christos kills me with that.
No, he says he's available,
Yeah.
but no one giving him the chat.
Oh, yeah.
To the winner of Orange 13, please come down to the race to collect your tickets. You have 2 minutes before
Yeah.
we withdraw. Orange
Oh, like
F13.
one game this year, someone league one of the games. So, I think you guys are really finding a stride with the pod. Well, I think it's getting better every week.
Oh, the men's one.
Yeah.
He's just.
I told this to Shane. They need to. I think they need to either need to be in the studio or they need something because those long silences for the women wanting to kill me every time. That's the benefit of the men's one. You got men's one is a killjoy. Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Which one?
Your last one where you're both just playing party pooper on goals.
Oh, yeah. He's like, don't do that, do that.
Green 2-1.
Yeah.
Green 3-1.
Just fine.
Green 3-1. Come down to the race quickly.
Playing good.
You guys in first.
We're drawing this at half time. We're giving these tickets away tonight.
That's why I don't understand.
Right, we're drawing again.
That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Orange F3.
Mulching Wilson.
Orange F3.
You're able to bring
Yeah,
the in the traffic cop.
is it orange?
Yeah. When it's
Thanks for holding the rail mark.
yeah. That's the 12-6 Dragons. Amy Stewart's. Yeah, that was really. And how did one? By the way, how did one come back from that lightning delay 10 minutes to the other?
Oh, so I have both on the screen. The first time they were about to go back, it was second right in
Yeah.
the head. The AFL had 9:42 start, the rugby had 9:46 start. And I'm like, how did you call that discrepancy? And then the rugby started as the AFL 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
Hang on, how does that work?
I was going to say, you would know this obscure thing. Is that the latest an AFL game finish that's been completed on the same day? We finished about 11:30.
It must be. The Brisbane one, how late you have to
Something for you to look up midway.
Well, I was looking up today who scored double 10 more goals.
Oh, yeah.
Who scored that? That's all I did. That's all I did.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe whoever scored 10 goal or more. I can't believe he scored 10 or more in a game. Stevens alone.
Wow.
First 5 minutes.
Bernie Smith, reserve second half, about to get underway between the SD Raiders and St George FC. No score on the board. How is this second half going to play out? That's the question. Will it be St George or will it be the SD Raiders who will take control of this one? St George have had the better chances, but the SD Raiders have probably created more. The best way to describe what's happening thus far in this one. It's definitely night time now, as you can see. This venue, not the most lit up one behind the clubhouse. It's pretty dark on that side of the ground. We are in a position where the SD Raiders are looking to build already for something early in this second half. Love to see Rag find the back of the net. There's Chianese on the ground for the meantime. Let's see what's happening here. Physio's coming out straight away. Be a big loss to have Chianese out. I was just going to say before, in relation to this ground too, because we're basically in an industrial area, so to speak, or we're in a space where there's a lot of land, not quite any buildings for light to bounce off. That once, like, you look at the goal now we're looking at, behind Chianese, it just goes very dark. It's one of those facilities, not much buildings to bounce off the light. As we're about to see what's going to happen here to Chianese. Keep him on the field, or will he be subbed off? Be a loss in order regards. Chianese, a very talented player for the SD Raiders. Scores, by the way, around the grounds. I can tell you that it's 0-0 between University of New South and Wanderers at half time, and no score on the board between Spirit and Sydney United 58. They're going to make a sub, sounds like, so the board is about to be shown. So, how are they going to put on? Still waiting on confirmation. It will be in Mabasha. Yakov Mabasha will come on. So there's the sub. Mabasha will come onto the field. Chianese comes off with the injury. And that's after 3 minutes of this second half. Who's now will be Fernandez who's trying to get across in. Guerra who's able to clear. Down by let up. St George still able to penetrate forward. Soros heads it. Head tennis continues with McGrath. The advantage, I would say, in that situation went to the SD Raiders. St George had to opt out of the game of head tennis. Now working on the grass. Now they go to the air. Still not much on that. Guerra will be very important for his side. Throw to be taken by the SD Raiders. Headed by McState. Fernandez chested it down. Mako plays it across to Everett. Everett trying to find a target. The ball will swindle down. Will be in U.R. McGrath to work it on. Hannigan comes back. Now Beaven finds support. Now the SD Raiders looking to go forward again. Hannigan trying to be an important asset here. The ball drops back to Mako. Mako shoots and goes wide of the mark. And the score remains 0-0. About to see the St George FC side. Chianese, by the way, slowly making his way back to the dressing sheds. That injury's not great. Find out more, but it'll be a big loss for the SD Raiders. Chianese. By the way, talking about injury updates as such, Terry Antonis, I was hearing that he's a couple of weeks away from returning to the training camp for St George FC, so not too far away from hopefully seeing him back. Terry wants to play, very ambitious about coming back this season as Rodriguez finds Farrow. Farrow has the shot, does deviate wide. Flag did not get called on this occasion for him. In the first half, he was false starting more times than the competitors for Eric Musambani in the 2000 Sydney Games. And Eric Musambani swam against himself. Michael Figuera. They're looking to send this one high and deep. Ball comes just shy of halfway. St George look like they can set something up here. Figuera gets back to it. Taking command of the number one spot this week. A few weeks ago, lost the number one spot to Lukash. After what happened last week, Lukash surrendered it. And Figuera's back. And you'd expect Figuera now to actually really own this one. He'll be making sure he doesn't make the faux pas he was making to make the decision of change of keeper a few weeks ago. Right. Now it's Casella. Now, McGrath and Farrow were having a bit of a Canadian two-step when they came together. The foul goes the way of the SD Raiders. McGrath sliding it across the rag. Everett is on halfway, but they decide to use Knezovic. Everett is calling for it once more, but Bevan decides to slide it across to McGrath. Can't do much with it. I said rag before, it is definitely McGrath playing at the back. In the meantime, Bevan, not McGrath, instead of rag. Now the ball comes across. St. George with right. The way comes down for Fernandez. Knezovic is on this. Well, does touch off St. George for a throw for the SD Raiders. So it will be McGrath. Everett. And again it goes to Bevan. McGrath once more. So now Fernandez back. Building again. This time through Rag. Ball coming back to Figuera. Now this will be McGrath. McGrath sending this. It's going to be Mako not quite, I should say Malbasha in that situation, not quite controlling. Now again it will be in Casella. Casella now, the edge of the 18-yard box. He slides it in. Flicked away. And now the SD Raiders have it again through McGrath. Now it's Fernandez. No control by Mako. Basha back to McGrath. Again, they'll look to reload here. The SD Raiders. Mako. And Knezovic was on the run, but stopped by Petrovsky. Now, Everett looking to go forward, working it across. And now this will be McGrath. So now Rag on the left. Touching off the SD Raiders last. St. George throw. Right. Right. Wide possession again. Will be the St. George Saints with possession. It's been won. Now again McGrath looking to go forward. Sides it off back to Mako. Mako slides it on. Now it's Letta. Joe Letta. Able to work it back. And this will be Figuera. Bevan, Letta, Figueroa. Now it's to McGrath on the right. Decisive trying to slide it upstream. McGrath trying to get to it, couldn't. Saurus, nice work. I don't know what Danaskos will be thinking at the moment. Now his side's going. Now is his fitness coming back. Now Fernandez has it for the SD Raiders. Cuts inside. Space for himself. Couldn't. Squeeze it to the right side of the goal. Still nil. Still waiting for the opening goal. Right pressured. Fernandez touches it, goes back to right, McStay on the right. McStay looking at options. He'll work it inside. Now Rodriguez. Letter skirms it out. Again from Calaguero. Tuyoka back to Calaguero. Now it's work back from right. Calaguero. Now Tuyoka going to Sito. SD Raiders will make a change shortly by the looks of it. Muga. Field get called up today. Now the SD Raiders have to stop this in George's side. It will be peppering with their attack. Ball goes to Calaguero. Calaguero works it onto his right. Right again. Spinning back. Works it inside. Ball by Casella. And so he calls the indiscretion. So now the SD Raiders. Again, a chance for them to build some pressure. Ball goes out for a throw. Bevan. George now. Substitution about to be made by the Saints. It's going to be a double change. I think Poon's going to come on. Same as Rodic. There the change is about to be made by the Saints. Now Fernandez slaloms his way through. Trying to find Knezovic. Cut down. Calaguero has been an important impact as Sito can't get to it. Now it's the green machine on the attack. Letter working on to his left. Rag. Back to McGrath. He sends it to his right. Hannigan. Cooper lays it up. Basha won't get to it. See some fog, I think you'll find, looking to roll across. The old words, winter has come. It's the Raiders to make their changes. Or the St George FC rather. So double change here. So St George will make their changes as we speak.
Come on, boys.
As I said, Rodich and Poon that come on. And Danaskos comes off, and I think McStay's the other one. So I think that's the changes. It's now the SD Raiders. Don't know yet if either side have got that strike power. Mugo to come onto the field shortly for the SD Raiders. Can see him taking the jacket off. Right with a nice ball. Poon chased. Cut down by Litter. Now Rag back to Litter. The SD Raiders. Foul will go against them. Mako. Don't know if you should be waving your finger at a referee, but anyway. Kalaguru wanted to take the free kick. The referee wants to settle down things a little bit. So Casella, maybe too much of a run, trying to work it back inside, but the ball went out. Lucy Hungerford did have the flag up to say. Changes the SD Raiders. Mugo, as I said, will be one. Farah about to come on two. Now, Knezovic found McGrath. Now they come to the right. Fernandez finds his support player. Probably wasn't the pass they were looking for. Now, Basha was ready to set it up. The opportunity to get the goal, but McGrath's ball wasn't overly brilliant. Still no score. Working the 20th minute in the second half. It's back Rag. Now it's let up. Farah about to come on. Mugo will be the other player too, Fairstein. Again, Sito spinning around. Casella trying to find Sito again. Sito's ball flicks off. It's back to Casella. Casella comes back. Rodic. Didn't have to work it back. Looking to build once again. Save will be made. Michael Figuera. The Raiders on the attack. Rag and Knezovic. Knezovic now looks to work it in the middle. Now Basha decided to zig when they should have went to the right. Still, nil all. A game that is developing for both sides. Who will get this goal? The go-ahead. As Wright is able to beat Knezovic. So tonight, in all games, we've got donuts. The 3 games on at the moment. So no score between University of New South and the Wanderers. It's Spirit and Sydney United, no score. United love to bounce back to the winner's circle after dropping 2 points. Not 3, 2 points. It was a draw last week against a City side. Played the great game plan so well as the subs are on now. Eramugo and Malfara to come on. Mako makes his way off, and I think it's Bevan, the other player, to make his way off the field. No, Rag, I should say. My apologies, Rag. Two changes being made. Now the Raiders to get out of their own defensive third. On the attack now. Calagero. Ball on by Toyoka. Now it's a chance for St. George. Rodic. Ball spins on to Justin Poon. Deflects off Eramugo. Eramugo can't do much with it. He's taken down the challenge. The foul will be called to the SD Raiders. The ball comes over halfway, over the top of Eramugo, headed down by right, then Rodriguez headed it. Later, the side will go back to Figueira. Farah and Everett combining now, Bevan. SD Raiders want to get a goal here. Get the go ahead. Porter has now Hannigan inside. Mabasha couldn't get to it. Has now Bevan beaten. Everett gets to it though for his son. Farah now to control things. How's these want? George about to make a change. Seeing Jake True setting himself up. Apparently injury kept him on the bench. He's right to go for the remaining stages of this game. Inside the final 20 of regulation time. Just don't know who is the better of the two to score this goal. Defensives nullified each other. His Wright's found his support. Poon now working it back inside. Now it's Rodic. Toyoka. Saurus back. Sita using the left. Ball comes in. Figueira makes the save. Bowls it down to the left. Great work by Calagero. He'll have possession again. Calagero works it on. Poon inside. Foul will go SD Raiders' way. So the Raiders can't control. Next week, both sides have got interesting tasks. St George head to Lambert to play Apia. So we've got the St George player on the ground. SD will head to Wanderers Football Park next week. SD actually play Apia the week after. Then Spirit, Sutherland and Sydney FC. Those last 4 games I mentioned, Apia, Spirit, Sutherland and Sydney FC, all at Ernie Smith. While St George, mentioned that game against Apia, then home against the Wanderers, away against Blacktown, home against United, then away against Wollongong. Their back half of the top half of the season, if that makes sense, as changes will be made. Coming onto the pitch will be Jake Shrew. Harrison Farrow's the man that's coming off. The injury he sustained, by the looks of it. I think that might be a change. He's been pulled off the field, isn't he? Now, Rodic will have to get himself involved as Wright worked it on. Now Poon finds Rodic. Poon is beat by Iramugo. Now St George in their own half. Toyoka back. Petrovsky. Let up. Now they come back to the right. Poon. Nice ball by Wright to Poon. St George have possession. Right. Rodriguez. Now the sliding ball. Saurus. Then the ball on by Toyoka, Sito. And calls of our ball. And with the SD Raiders with the goal kick.
Rod! Keep going, come on!
Figuera over halfway over the top of Iramugo. Now Barsha, Charla working on, and they'll find Knezovic. So now St George from their own offensive third. Toyoka working it on. Sito. And the touch by Rodic back to Sito. About to come onto the field will be in Kimishima. It's now St George trying to fire their way. The ball goes out. Kimishima, it's seen get ready. About to be called upon. Foul called. It's the Raiders having a couple of yards from halfway. So Kimishima comes on, and I think you'll find making way will be in Rodriguez. Bevan to take the set piece. Decided to opt against it. Bevan was on it initially, but they decided for him to drop back and get position. So now McGrath gives it away. Shiva taking down the challenge. Now still alive here. Farah taken down. Shiva's got it. Touched by Wright, and then Wright again, and then Wright drives up. Touched by the SD Raiders. Does go out. Hungerford does say it's the last touch by SD, and another touch by Iramugo will be another throw. The goal is coming. You imagine anyway. Throw taken quickly. It's St George with Rodich coming back, and now Toyooka utilises here. Kalageru, now he gets it on. Ball by Saurus, and the touch by Poon. Poon trying to get to it again. Played out. Now Farah and his men will be looking to build defensively, and then when they can win the ball on the counter, what can they do with it? Right, taken down initially in the challenge. Now St George. What Kimishima can do. I was impressed with him in the early stages this year of the season. I reckon he could be involved in setting up a goal here for St George. No score in all the games being played thus far at the moment. St George City and Marconi, the late game at 7:15 local. Ball is worked up by Kalageru. Poon onside, trying to slide it in, touches off St George, SD Raiders. Will be a corner. But it came across to stop it off. Now St George again, looking to reload. Corner taken by Casella. Mugo plays it straight back at Casella. Casella now in the middle. It's headed down by the Raiders. Opportunity again for Knezovic to tack it onto Malfarah. Malfarah going to be Jakob Marbashas. It does stay there. Back to Marbasha! No. It was wide. The mark was probably hopeful more so than likely. Didn't quite get the knock in the right spot. 10 minutes on the tickety-tock regulation time. Can the Raiders or St George get a goal here? Nicholas Kutniak with you. No score between University of New South and the Wanderers. 72 minutes in that game. Because now it's Poon. It comes back to Kalageru. Kalageru works it on. Now Saurus found support. Rodich will have it again. Sinto, we know, has done some work today. Has been good. St George haven't had points in a month. The SD Raiders might make it further. The ball comes back inside. Knezovic has got it. Takes the strike. Hits the bar. A sidebar and goes in. And Knezovic doing some pin ball wizard work. And again, it's the SD Raiders that will take control of this game. Knezovic, second goal this season.
Come on! Hey, Saints, come on! Hey, Nico,
okay. Morate raditi sada ima da gura i gore otkrati, svi se morate vraćati.
Okay, so what can St George do now in retaliation? Knezovic gets the goal. The SD Raiders have the lead. SD players, they could potentially be subbed on and warming up. Calageru works it to his right. Poon back to Calageru. Ramugo's got it now. SD Raiders will be quick here, but Poon's quickly there to stop it. An equaliser is needed from the St George FC squad. They give away a foul for the SD Raiders that possession.
Behind it, set. Hurry these up, rest. Hurry these up.
How long?
McGrath works it down the right. Played up by Cito initially. St George now. Can see Poon calling for it. He controls it now. Beats Ramugo as he slides it back into Rodic. Casella back to Rodic. Now it's Poon. Poon back inside. Rodic. That possession again from Casella. Calageru. Now the ball back inside from Rodic. See Casella in the middle. Foul called to the SD Raiders. We've got a goal here. First goal of the round. Ball goes towards the edge of the 18-yard box. And now it's lobbed up by Cito. An SD player is about to be carded. It's the way he's gone in. Is the call by the fourth official. As now, it's been won by Knezovic. Is a double happening here? Slides it back inside. Cleared out by Rodic. So another chance for the SD Raiders. 5 minutes remaining on regulation time. 5 minutes remaining regulation time.
You're not sorry, get ready, come!
So now, corner about to be taken. The SD Raiders looking for the second goal. The one that probably gets them the win. I can see Malbasha there at the 6-yard box. Now it's worked in. Fernandez couldn't get to it. Now it's a foul gone the way of the St George FC squad. Who do you want to be in this situation? They might be down St George, but they can create something here. Wright has got it. Right. Works it back inside. Calageru to his left. Yorka utilising Calageru. And once more. Wright worked it back inside. Going to try to stop it off. Here is now Saurus. Touched back by Poon. Wright. Shima, right, back in the middle. Shima on the right. Leaves it basically out. never looked like touching an SD Raider 2 in transition.
Come on, work.
So, are they about to make another change here, the SD Raiders? I could see the bib going off from Sebhatu. They're going to make a change. 3 minutes of regulation time. Eramugo. Lageru played it short. Saurus touch. Ronic, and then the ball back from Toyoka. Ronic now working it on. That right was also in and around in that play. It's now St George. Coming back to Poon on the right. Poon back inside. Right, short ball. And now Shrew couldn't get himself in a good position. Ball sits back. And this again is where St George can strike. You can see Sebhatu warming up, same as Santa Rosa. That will be the changes coming up. Another 2 minutes regulation time. Geru works at the Poon on the right. Poon now's got support, but he decides to work it in the middle of the main street. Ball bounces back. Now it's right once more. And here's Toyoka. Can he slide a ball in? Does so. Save made first time by Figuera. Make sure he wraps it around and controls things. Time is about to be elapsed. St George have to be mindful. They can't afford a fifth straight loss. This was a team that made it 6 on the spin early in the season, or at least close to. They were near faultless. It was 4 wins on the trot. A win to start the year, then a draw in week 2 against City. But that's a bygone era, it feels like now. Do mind you, they can level things up here. Will they? Corner to be taken by Casella. It's into the 6-yard box. Figuera tried the punch. The Raiders now have it on the counter. Now Basha, where is he in this situation? Now Farah worked it forward. Farah not starting today, which was an interesting call. I was noting too, Malbasha was still on halfway. That would have been making sure he was sent forward, but anyway, we're about to see injury time added. Casella's got possession. Looking to deviate it back inside. Rodic finding here Kalageru. Board about to show. Poon inside, the header by Cito. 5 minutes of additional time has been added. So we've got plenty of time, a mile of time. Right. Casella, Rodic, and now Toyoka. Kalageru. Now Cito. Poon utilising the left side at the moment. Works in the middle. Does deviate off SD. It's gone back to Saurus, who sends the ball on the Poon. Crosses it in. Again the Raiders clear, but it goes as far as Kalageru. Goes short to his right. Toyoka. They're building, but Eramugo has got possession. The SD Raiders, Eramugo wanted to go for it. Kalageru played it down. Casella couldn't win it. Ball comes back. It's now Rodic, Caligeru. There's an equaliser here somewhere. Poon on the left. He's got Sito on his left too, but he goes right. Ball comes back. Kimishima utilising Saurus. And then Rodic onto right. Right, now works to the far post. True couldn't get the header in. The changes are being made. They're taking their time. Maybe too much. Sibhatu comes on. Knezovic is off. Now Santa Rosa comes on. Coming off is Fernandez. So here is the spill. The SD Raiders are on the verge of another win. This, for them, will be win 3 of the season. Handball not called. Hannigan's got it on the right. The Raiders will be holding for dear life as the ball goes out. St George will have the throw. They just need to get a point to get confidence, St George. No points in the last month. They were in the top 2 after 6 rounds. Now it's Rodic. Tuiuka goes left. Ball on by Saurus. Now Poon, can he get the cross in? Hannigan was trying to clear. Hannigan will boot the ball. It goes back, and now it's Saurus again. And now the flick on was okay by Rodic, but couldn't find Casella the target. St George have thrown everything in the last couple of minutes, including the kitchen sink. Figuera works it over halfway. For him, confidence if this is to be a clean sheet for him. Right. Sibhatu on the field as we see now Malfaro with it. Malfaro taking down the challenge. This will be a foul. Caught against Rodic and a card given to him. Given to Imagine staff for the SD Raiders. So, time still ticking. I see Mako wearing a sleeveless vest. Time ticking. The SD Raiders just making sure St George don't have possession. Foul called to St George. Poon looked like who fed the ball forward. Couldn't get to it initially there, true. Ball drops back. Figuera over halfway. Time ticking. St George lose possession. The shot from distance by Santa Rosa, but it goes to the left and misses. St George making sure they can just take this quickly. Can see Petrovsky wanting to go straight to his man Caligeru. He's got right on his right. He'll decide to go down the middle. True was the target. Couldn't control. Lobbed up by Letta. Comes to halfway. Mabasha couldn't get to it. Now spinning around is Rodic. Time against him here. Now it's right back inside. Casella. Good pressure by Malfaro. St George will have possession though. Whistle blows. SD get a win at home. And St George concede their fifth loss. Their fifth loss on the trot. Things were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed mid-March, but the horrors of April is continuing. SD 1, St George 0. Goal scorer was Knezovic. And they're going to get the prize, the SD Raiders. Other games this weekend, University of New South and Wanderers in injury time, 1-1 with a score. Sydney United lead Spirit 1-0. St George City Marconi, a late game tonight. Tomorrow, Sydney FC and Blacktown City at 3. Same time for Wolves and Sutherland. Apia, Sydney Olympic at 4:30. Manly and Rockdale at 5 p.m. That's what's coming up this weekend in the NPL Men's New South Wales. We'll be back at a football pitch near you soon. Nicholas Kutniak signing off. We'll chat to you later. Bye for now. Okay, Justin? Mark is
Not a bad little...
Banksia.
Yeah. Almost, yeah, Banksia.
That's what they call it.
I was going to say, it's right between Banksia and Rockdale. I usually get off at Rockdale and walk down.
Yeah,
in
it's
Banksia.
Banksia location.
Yeah.
It's Campbelltown Stadium.
Yeah, in Lamia.
That the Lamia station is where you get off.
Yeah. I'm not this one in the race for lunch. It's legit. Yeah, go.
They give you,
Yes. Make some good saves. See ya? What's it?
well, who's in 3?
Yeah, that's they can't just give us the message for the goal. I feel like that's
Nobody gets 3. Just the
I
ladies,
wish.
3.
Free media. These guys need to stay only because there's around 5 minutes from the house. I know. I'm going into the city anyway. I'm going to go speed off to go watch Sydney FC.
Oh, you're going to do it.
Yeah, well, good to see you again, mate. It took too long into the season to see you.
You going to make it in time?
Yeah, I'll might just miss kickoff. I will. That's quicker than I expected. Like, I got from Village Green to Para in like 20, 25 minutes.
Where's the nearest public